Hey everyone, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking something absolutely fascinating, the hidden mechanics of psychological conflict, and exactly how that conflict manifests in your physical body. Now, we usually think of the mind and the body as, well, two totally separate things, right? But the sources we're diving into today, which honestly range all the way from ancient medical texts to cutting-edge neurobiology, tell a wildly different, deeply interconnected story. They describe psychological conflict as a state of true energetic discord or dissonance between your soul and your physical form. Just think about our everyday language for a second. We already instinctively link our emotional distress to specific physical locations. When you say you just can't digest a piece of bad news, or maybe that a nervous friend has cold feet, you're not just being poetic. You're actually describing a literal, physiological event that is happening right inside your own anatomy. So, to really understand how our emotions physically alter our organs, we have to start with this. We can define this ancient concept of the biofield, which historically was known as the aura, as this incredibly delicate intermediary layer bridging our physical bodies and the universe around us. Ancient philosophers actually called it a tertium quid, which just means a third thing. It basically defies the strict boundaries between matter and spirit, acting almost like a subtle exoskeleton or a second skin. Okay, here's our roadmap for today. 1. Intro to the biofield. 2. The mechanics of conflict. 3. Mapping conflict to organs. 4. 7-year developmental cycles. 5. The biological gut-brain mirror. And finally, 6. Resolution and evolution. Let's kick things off with Section 1, Intro to the biofield. To grasp the roots of this whole idea, it's wild to look back at how different cultures throughout history tried to describe this subtle, luminous emanation surrounding living beings. The 2nd century physician Galen used it to describe that physical sensation right before a seizure happens, and we actually still use that medical term today, aura epileptica. Fast forward a bit, and that exact same concept was popularized by 19th century theosophists in a more spiritual context, describing this fluid life force permeating absolutely everything. Moving on to Section 2, the mechanics of conflict. So how exactly does a bad thought turn into a bad stomach? Well, based on principles of quantum physics and wave mechanics, the interaction between your psyche and your body's magnetic field acts just like intersecting waveforms. When you're in harmony, it creates constructive wave interference. This amplifies your vitality and manifests as positive emotions. But, and here is the key, psychological conflict creates destructive interference. This dissonance literally changes the frequency of your body's magnetic field and acts as a defense mechanism that halts the flow of your vital energy, sometimes called chi or prana. You might still function normally day to day, but this energy blockage eventually leads to dysfunction, and if you don't resolve it, it converts straight into physical disease. Section 3, Mapping conflict to organs. Because if this conflict blocks our vital energy, where does that energy actually go? We literally have a complete energetic map aligning our core life aspects with the 7 chakras and their specific psychological conflicts. The blocked energy gets trapped in highly targeted areas of your anatomy. For example, a sudden threat to your physical territory or survival. That directly targets the root chakra. A deep separation from a loved one triggers a blockage in the heart chakra. Your personal biography is quite literally becoming your biology. And it doesn't stop there. The energy from these conflicts is routed into specific organ systems through this complex magnetic network known as the 12 meridians. Each meridian is wired to uniquely process a completely different mental or emotional activity. By mapping specific emotions to these meridians, it all starts to make sense. A fear of criticism disrupts the large intestine. If you're dealing with material conflicts regarding your territory, that directly impacts the kidneys. Harboring deep frustration, or maybe feeling a lack of parental love, that dissonance specifically targets the liver meridian. Or if you face a sudden, unexpected event you just can't accept, your stomach reacts by blocking the energy flow. It is a completely mapped out system. Section 4, 7-year developmental cycles. Now, we obviously don't process all these life aspects at the same time. We process them in distinct stages. Get this. Our lives unfold in these really fascinating 7-year cycles. Different energy centers become dominant, guiding our development from basic survival all the way to seeking profound harmony. So from age 1 to 7, a kid is entirely driven by the root chakra, motivated mostly by survival and fear. But by the time someone reaches 22 to 28, their heart chakra takes the wheel, driving this deep need to stabilize their life, harmonize their relationships, and truly connect with others. But here is the kicker you need to remember. Whenever you enter a new 7-year cycle, you inevitably face a crisis year. Whether you're returning 8, 15, or 22, that very first year of the new cycle plunges you right back into root chakra dominance. It's this intense transition period where you feel deeply ungrounded, facing fundamental survival fears, while your energetic field recalibrates for the next stage of your life. All right, Section 5, the biological gut-brain mirror. Let's flip over to hard science for a second. In the realm of modern biology, what we just called an energy blockage can actually be understood as an interoceptive prediction error. This happens when your brain continuously misinterprets signals from your gut based on negative interoceptive memories from past trauma. Basically, if you have an unresolved emotional memory, your brain begins to falsely predict that your gut is in distress, even when it's totally fine, causing this massive cascade of hypervigilance and anxiety. It's like this early biological programming creates a deeply ingrained value map in our nervous system, hardwiring our very first feelings of safety or fear directly to our gastrointestinal tract. This aligns perfectly with the 7-year cycle we just talked about, where a newborn's primary drive is root survival. The gut literally sends signals to the brain that physically wire the infant's foundational understanding of what is good, bad, safe, or dangerous. It is honestly mind-blowing. What ancient traditions call destructive wave interference, modern medicine calls a homeostatic mismatch resulting in chronic autonomic dysfunction. They are essentially saying the exact same thing. When there is a failure to update your predictive state, when you hold on to a psychological conflict, it leads to chronic dysregulation of the brain-gut axis. Your biology literally reshapes itself right around the unhealed emotional wound. And finally, Section 6, Resolution and Evolution. How do we actually fix this and restore the vital flow? Resolving these conflicts is the essential path for our intellectual growth and spiritual evolution. And this is especially crucial if you are going through a massive energetic shift, like a Kundalini awakening. During those times, unresolved psychological conflicts get severely intensified, leading to huge psychological upheaval and confusion if you aren't properly prepared. By identifying the psychological root of the blockage, like tracking kidney issues back to territorial conflicts or stomach issues to unexpected events, you can finally dissolve that destructive interference. Your body then returns to physiological homeostasis, a dynamic equilibrium where your system just functions smoothly with minimal energy expenditure. So as we wrap up this explainer, remember that your physical ailments are not just random glitches. According to these models, they are profound, literal communications from your own biofield. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey through the architecture of the human soul and the nervous system. Keep listening to your body because it has a lot to say. I'm going to leave you with one vital question to think about. What unresolved internal conflict is your own body pleading with you to pay attention to right now?